Hey guys, James here with Waterford Business Solutions, and today I wanted to do a video for us that breaks down everything that happens between Housecall and QBO in real time so that you can see exactly what it looks like. I've done a lot of talking and smaller videos about this happens and that happens, and even some actual presentations with Housecall Pro, but this video is going to go from start to finish with every single thing that happens, highlighting a lot of that information in one video. With that being said, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so be prepared, but hopefully this helps you out. So I'm going to start in our QuickBooks Online here and come up here, and we're going to start with a new customer. So we're just going to add a new customer here. We're just going to put in a name. As those of y'all that know me know that I use a lot of Disney references for some weird reason. I don't know why. So we're going to put in a name. We're going to put in our email. If we want to put in a company name, we're going to put that in. So put that in. If we have phone numbers, we can go ahead and put that in. Home phone. Like it's saying these aren't valid phone numbers, so I'm going to change this to an area code that I know will work. Still doesn't like that phone number. There we go. So we'll put in all of those, and then we'll put in our street address. Right there. Then we can put in address notes, and we can come on down here under my image. I'm going to move that real quick, and we can put in customer notes. And we can put in our customer tags. So we'll say new as a customer tag here. And I'm going to spend a minute here and go through what will and will not go over. So this first name, last name, display name, all of this is going to go over. Since I put in a company here, it's going to use that company for my display name. That company will also go over. Our mobile phone, our home phone, our work phone, that information will go over. Job title. That will not go over. That is not something that QuickBooks supports. So this is going to be a Housecall Pro specific field. Homeowner or business. This will not go over into QuickBooks. If you click this button here, we subcontract for this general contractor. Will not go over. This is Housecall Pro specific. These three fields right here. Address. The street, city, zip, unit, state, all of that stuff will go over. But address notes will not go over. If you add multiple addresses, only one address is going to go over. So the first address you put in is going to be the only address that goes over to QuickBooks. Customer notes, these will go over, which is good, but customer tags will not go over. So any tags you do will not go over. This customer bills to. If this customer bills to, and I'm going to use my Mickey Mouse customer here, if we choose this, it's going to create a parent-child relationship in QuickBooks for us. So it's going to sub that customer so that any bills, any jobs done for Goofy also show up under Mickey, and any bills will get sent to Mickey. We're going to also see that in QuickBooks. It's going to sub that customer under it. We'll see any invoices sent to Goofy or sent for Goofy's account also under Mickey so that you can see all that stuff there. So that will go over. If I go ahead and click create this customer, which it's not going to let me do because Mickey is already a sub-customer. Let's see if Minnie is a sub-customer. Oh, and it got rid of everything. Give me 1 second, guys, and I'm going to fix this. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I went ahead and got that fixed. So we now have our customer, Goofy Disney or Walt Disney, in our Housecall Pro. However, if we go over to our QuickBooks and we go to our sales and our customers, we're not going to see Walt Disney or Goofy in here at all. We're not going to see them because they don't exist yet. We haven't done a job for them. So keep in mind, even though you've added this customer into Housecall Pro, they do not yet exist in QuickBooks. Until you physically do a job for them in QuickBooks, they're not going to push over. So you've got two options here. You can leave them in Housecall Pro until the job is finished, done, finished, complete, whatever you want to call it, and then it will push over. Or if you need the customer in QuickBooks beforehand, you're doing job costing through QuickBooks, so you want to assign expenses to that customer in QuickBooks. We can click plus new job here. And we can come in here and not put any services, any quantity, any unit price, any descriptions. We're not putting anything here. And we're going to go ahead and finish this job. And that should go ahead and send it over to QuickBooks for us. Now you see where it's saying that this invoice is not sent to QuickBooks yet. It will go ahead and send. I'm going to expedite this by clicking these three dots here and go ahead and push invoice and payment to QuickBooks to go ahead and expedite this process so that we're not just sitting here and waiting. Now it went ahead and threw some errors, and it's throwing this error because it does require at least one line item to be on here. So we do need to put a service. So I'm just going to put sales, but I'm not going to put, again, any unit price, any description, anything. This is literally all by itself, and then I'm going to reprocess this. Once I do that, it's going to go ahead and push over a QuickBooks link for us. Once we do that, we should now be able to refresh our QuickBooks, and we should see Walt Disney there right under Minnie Mouse. And if we take a look here at our customer information, we're going to see first name, last name, just as we did, company name, just as we did, display name, just as we did, one email address, the 3 phone numbers, the is sub customer with the bill to parent set up here, but it's not going to bring over our addresses yet. However, our notes are here. We'll get to the addresses in a minute, but that's everything that we need right there. So that gives us a lot of customer details just by creating this dummy invoice. So that's going to let us go ahead and get things over into QuickBooks before they actually happen. So now I'm going to, excuse me, sorry. Now I'm going to actually come in and I'm going to schedule a job for our new customer, Goofy. So we're going to put in Goofy here. And it'll bring up Walt Disney. And we're going to set up our job here. AC tune-up. $150. AC filter replacement. $50. So we're just going to do a simple one here. 2 different things. We're going to go ahead and take off Pro mode because I want to make this a little bit more difficult for me. I've already done all that, but I do want to go ahead and get him scheduled. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule him for today. We're going to do it right around here. Use this time. So now we've got our time set. We've got who we're going to. We can put in private notes, customer tags, job tags, anything like that. But keep in mind, this stuff is not going to go over to QuickBooks. Any of these items here will not go to QuickBooks. This schedule will not go to QuickBooks. The employee doing the job will not go to QuickBooks. All that's going to happen here, all that will go over, is our item names, our descriptions, our quantity, our unit price, our tax rate if we have one set up. If things are taxable, that will go over to charge taxes as needed. Our subtotal, our tax total, and our total here. If you come in here and you add a discount, I'm going to go ahead and do a loyal customer discount, if I can spell. I never can. Of 10%. So if we do that, it's going to go ahead and push over a discount by discounting the subtotal, not the taxes or anything. If we do a message on the invoice down here, just going to type some letters, that will push over. Now, any of this cost breakdown, material cost, profit and loss, any of this stuff does not go over. If we go ahead and save this job here, now we're going to have this invoice over here. But none of this information here is in QuickBooks yet because it doesn't go over until we finish the job. Until we hit finish here, it does not exist in QuickBooks. So we can go through, we can make any changes that we want here. Items, descriptions, pricing, anything like that. And until we finish the job, nothing's going to go over. So I'm going to hit on my way. And actually, we're just going to come over to QuickBooks so that we can see that. You'll notice that we still have no invoice 49. There's only one invoice under Goofy here, or Walt Disney, or whatever we're calling it. I'm going to hit on my way, just like we would normally. I'm going to hit start, just like we would normally. It still does not do anything. This is all happening in the background. We can again come to QuickBooks here. Nothing exists in QuickBooks. So we're going to go ahead. Now we're going to hit finish and we're going to finish the job. This is going to be the first time that anything may go to QuickBooks. You can always check this down here and you can read what's going on here. If it says invoice not sent to QuickBooks yet, none of this information will be in QuickBooks. So if I refresh this page, it may or may not send something to QuickBooks. So we're going to see, oh, and there we go right there. We have our QuickBooks Online link. So it did it automatically for us. I didn't have to push it. If I refresh this page right here, we should now see an invoice 49. Perfect. $194. Our customer is up here. Our addresses are up here. The reason we don't have a billing address is because Minnie Mouse doesn't have one. I never set her up with one. That's why that's missing. But our shipping address is in here. Our invoice date is in here as of today. Our due date is set up, and I'll talk about how that's set up in a minute. Invoice number came over. Our products and services came over with the exact product and service name. The descriptions came over exactly as they are. Quantities, rates, amounts, whether it's taxable or not, all of that came over. Our discount came over. Didn't give us what the name of the discount is, but at least gave us the discount. Our taxes came over so that we have all of that information there. So everything that I filled out there, it all came over for you, and it's right there. Now again, tags, private notes, anything like that, that is not going to come over. That is going to be stuck in there. Now, if we come back to Housecall, and before we email to the customer, we make some changes here. I'm just doing that. It's going to change our pricing. It's going to change our discount. It's going to change our tax. It's going to change our total just so that we can see that. If we go ahead and invoice here, and again, it doesn't have an email because I didn't set that up with the parent customer. So if we go ahead and invoice here, it's going to go ahead and update in QuickBooks. So I'm going to give it a second here. And while I'm talking about that, or while we're waiting on that, I'm going to talk about these item names. So these item names here, these should always come from your price book. In Housecall Pro, you've got your initials up here, your account and settings, and you've got your price list. Anytime you use a item on an invoice, that should be coming from a price list item. If it does not come from a price list item, instead of seeing the display name, the description that you have in Housecall Pro, it's going to come over into QuickBooks as generic sales. So in QuickBooks, the item name will be sales, and then you'll see a air conditioner -AC tune-up with all of this stuff in the description. So make sure you are using your price book item, your price book information there. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. At this point, it should have had time to move over to QuickBooks, watch it prove me wrong, but we're going to try this anyway. We're going to refresh this invoice here. And perfect. Our balance has changed. Our descriptions have changed. Our amounts have changed. Our discount and our taxes have all changed to reflect exactly what Housecall Pro is showing us. Perfect. We made changes, it's in here. So if your guys finish a job in the field and you need to in the office make changes before you invoice it to a customer, right there, you make the changes in the office, you invoice it to the customer, it updates it in QuickBooks for you, just like we want to see. If we come back in here, it's now invoiced to the customer. Why it's not showing that, I don't know, because it doesn't have all of our prices correct. Perfect, so we've invoiced the customer, and let's say we make another change. We change this price to $150, and then we change the description again. But I also want to change the quantity here to 2, just so that you can see that going on. So before they paid us, we made some more changes. We'll go ahead and click Pay here, and we're going to choose how we're paying. Credit, cash, check, other. Credit is processing through Housecall Pro. Cash, check, and other are unphysical forms of payment. When we are in here, the amount, that's going to go over into the payment amount. If you do a payment note here, that's going to go over to QuickBooks. What's not going to go over is any credit card information or if you change any date. So I'm going to put a payment date or a payment note in here of check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go ahead and pay by check. What that's going to do is it's going to, in this QBO transactions area, put a 1 there to show us that we have 1 transaction there, which is exactly what we want to see. It'll take a minute for that to process through. We're just going to let it sit here for a second, and then we'll refresh to make sure it went through. Perfect. QBO transactions 1, and then we can see the check right there. So if we come back to QuickBooks here and we refresh this invoice, we should now see the change in the amount. So we changed, again, our rate, our quantity, the total amount, and the description again, and it all updated. So between invoicing and paying, if something changes, if you decide to give another discount, whatever, it will go ahead and update again. We'll also see that there's a payment status of paid. So we'll hop in here, and in that payment status of paid, we see the customer, we see the date. That is the date that you put the payment into Housecall. So if you receive the check today, but you don't record it for 2 weeks, the recorded date in QuickBooks is going to be wrong, unless you modify every single one. Housecall Pro pushes over the date of when it was recorded in Housecall Pro. So keep up with this. The payment method comes over based on cash, check, other, credit card, exactly as we saw in Housecall. Reference number, it gives us the invoice number, and then it gives us whatever the description was that I put in. So it gives us the check number if you're putting that there. It's always going to deposit to undeposited funds. That's how Housecall Pro is set up. That's the proper way to do it. So at this point, we've now finished in Housecall Pro. We've done everything in there. We're good to go. But we're not done with this invoice yet. We still need to come into QuickBooks and we still need to deposit the money. So if we come in here, we should see a payment from Minnie on today by check, and here's our check number. So what I did there is I went to the plus new icon, did bank deposit, scrolled down here to Minnie Mouse, selected that, and now I'm going to choose what bank account I'm depositing it into. I only have one, the date, and make sure that this is what my deposit is going to equal. This is going to allow your bank register to match your bank statement. So your bank register in QuickBooks matches your bank statement in Housecall Pro. So we're going to go ahead and save and close that. At this point, we've now sent the invoice, we've received the payment, we've deposited the money. It's now in your bank account, both in the bank and in QuickBooks, so you should be good to go to reconcile. Now, I'm not going to hit on refunds or anything like that because I've done a different video on that, but I will briefly hit on something else. Let's say that they ask for a refund in here and you get them a full refund, and then you delete this job. If you delete this job in Housecall, it does not delete it from QuickBooks. You still have to go into QuickBooks, find the invoice in QuickBooks. We know it was invoice 49, so I'm just going to search for that real quick. And you're going to have to delete it from here. But since you received payment on it, you don't want to delete that invoice. You want to cancel it if you don't want to see it, but it's not a job that was canceled. It was just a job that you had to issue a refund on. Once you push something over to QuickBooks, be very cautious in deleting it. Because if you delete something from QuickBooks or Housecall, it's not going to delete it from the other system. So be very cautious. Make sure if you go out to do a job and the job doesn't occur, don't hit finish. Cancel the job. Make sure if you go out and can't delete a job after it's been done in here because it was incorrectly finished, then delete it from QuickBooks, or else you're going to throw your numbers off and you're going to cause yourself issues. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, please post it below. Give us a follow. Give us a call if you need more assistance. You can reach us at 229-584-8793. Or shoot us an email at info@waterfordbusiness.com, and we would be happy to help you out. Have a wonderful rest of your day.